Good morning. My name is Michael Season. I am a lawyer with the McNear Law Firm. I'm humbled to be up here in front of you today. I appreciate being involved. The nice thing about following so many wonderful civic and community leaders is that you folks in the media will likely put one of them on the news tonight, not me. As you could tell, I have a face for radio, so I do appreciate that. It's been a year. It's been a year since the floods, and I don't. The other nice thing about going last is I don't want to repeat things that everybody else has said, because I think some very wonderful and insightful words have been spoken. What I do want to do is I want to talk a little bit about time. It's been a year. The morning of the flood, I live in Forest Acres with my family. The morning of the flood, about 4:30 in the morning, we had a massive tree that fell on our house. We have a creek next to our property. The creek rose up, overwhelmed the roots of the already saturated ground. Tree fell on our house. It was about an 85, 95 foot oak tree. Caused a lot of damage to our house. Most of the nightmare of getting up at 4:30 in the morning is you have no idea what's going on, and then you start seeing water coming through your ceiling. We spent majority of the morning between watching the news, just springing into action. You see the water coming through the ceiling, moving furniture, moving things, valuables in the house. At some point, the ceiling collapsed. Ceiling collapsed, sheetrock collapses. It was in the front of the house. There were about 8 places in the roof that the tree had breached. Spent most of that morning just bailing, filling up coolers, big 65 quart coolers. They'd fill up with rainwater about every 5 minutes. Have to be emptied out. I think we used every single towel in our house. Bath towels, dog towels, beach towels. Didn't know I had so many towels, but we did. And so after the rain stopped, it was a matter of what to do next. My family and I, after making sure that we were safe, we started repairing our house. We got the tree cut. We started calling contractors. We did the things that we had to do. We also helped our friends and neighbors. The tree was taken down in about 5 or 6 days. The roof of our house had tarps on it. We had, like I said, a lot of holes. We had those industrial sized blowers, you know, the ones that suck out all the moisture. They ran 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 5 weeks. 33 days. We made a decision that night or that day that we were going to stay in our house. We were able, the damage to our house was the foyer, our master bedroom, living room, hallways. The front part of the house, the back part of the house was okay. Bedrooms were okay. We have 3 boys, 2 dogs. We decided to stick it out. We were going to move to other rooms. I'm a guy made for a king-size bed, but we had to move and make adjustments. The first couple nights, it was novel. It was interesting. We were in different rooms, doubling up, tripling up. The dogs thought it was kind of weird, but we made do. So the blowers ran for about 33 days. The roof was repaired 7 weeks after the flood. Contractors who were very responsive, we contacted them at 4:30 in the morning. My wife's on Facebook posting, know anybody? The contractors were very responsive. They were overwhelmed. They were overwhelmed by the amount of work that had to be done. So the roof was fixed in 7 weeks, which is 46 days. The inside of the house, the sheet, and by the way, when your roof is tarped and it's November, it does get chilly. The sections of the house that were damaged were cordoned off with plastic sheeting, but it still feels like you're outside. Sheetrock and the inside stuff was done in the house before Christmas. 2 months, which was 10 weeks, which is 67 days. That was the first time that we were able to get back into the other rooms of the house. That was the first time that it wasn't novel anymore, right? We had to go on with our lives. I had to go to work. My kids had to go to school. I had to get up every single morning just like normal and get ready. I had to come home at night just like normal. 67 days until we got our house back in that situation. We moved out of our house because we had to finish doing work. In the middle of February, that's when we finally were able to move everything back in. We had to move all of our stuff back in, all of our carpets in, furniture, etc. 5 months, middle of February. 20 weeks, 136 days. Now, I point that out because a year seems like a long time, but a year is 365 days. It wasn't novel after 5 or 6 days. It became trying. It became unfun. But we soldiered on because we had to. Greg had talked about visiting Rickenbacker. My cousin lives on Burwell, and their house was subsumed by water. They moved out of their house. They moved somewhere else. They moved back 2 weeks ago. They were at the celebration. 136 days was something for me to undertake. I can't imagine being out of my house for almost a year. 365 days.